What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy, CamATL, and welcome back to another MLB DFS video with your boy. Drop a like down below because I already know you're gonna love it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment anything in the comment section to enter your name into the $50 giveaway I do every single week on this channel. I announced the winner of the $50 giveaway in my first video I did of the day, which is the prize picks video that I posted on my channel, so go check that out. If you commented and stuff, see if your name was the one called. Thank you guys for joining me as always, man. What a week. Over the last month or so, it's been one of those things where it's like, man, it's like I've always told y'all in daily fantasy sports and sports betting in general, there could be times, there's going to be, not could be, there's going to be times where you feel like you can't win. And there's going to be times where you feel like you can't lose. For a good little bit there, I never changed my process though, and as you guys know, that's always something I mention as well. Like through the ups and downs, use what has worked. Put that time in, put that effort in, and things always come back around for you in the long term. It was an awkward month of DFS over the last month or so, but last week was amazing. Nearly swept the entire week, cashed nearly every day last week. It was a fantastic week of MLB DFS, and it's exactly what we expect. When you put the work in, things come around. Regardless if you have a bad stretch or not, things always come back around, especially if you're putting that work in. And at Greenlight DFS, y'all know, man, that's what I do all day. All I do all day is work on roster construction, studying matchups, all that stuff, so that when I get put the optimal lineup at greenlightdfs.com, I know that there's nothing possible no stone that I didn't turn over. You know what I'm saying? I make sure I check every box before I finally post. That's why sometimes I'll post 10 minutes before the slate starts, because there's little things I'm still trying to make sure I'm paying attention to and not missing anything. So it's just that work you put in, man. The more you put into anything in life, the more you get out of it. So you just ride those waves at times, especially with sports betting. You're going to have those down waves. You're going to, have some tough times. You stick with it and things always turn out great. And last week was an amazing, amazing week at Greenlight DFS. So let's have another fantastic week. First thing I want to mention before I get into the core, um, the Colorado San Diego game is looking like it's got legitimate weather issues. Like a possible postponement type of strong weather issue. They're talking flood warnings in Colorado tonight. So there is a major issue in that game. Now, obviously, I will be paying attention. I've already been really studying that game because already we know that that's going to be an important game if that game works out. I've got my plays from that game that I know I have interest in, and I will have my fave built as if Colorado is good, and then I will have my fave ready if Colorado's not good, and I will be prepared for it. Right now, I'm leaning towards Colorado probably not being good, but be prepared for both ends of it, all right? In this high five, I'm not going to mention any San Diego players or any Colorado players because there is major concern in that game. You know, if they play that game, if they looking like they're safe to play, then get some San Diego, Colorado. But I'm not going to talk about any in this high five because I'm going to focus on guys that are going to be in other games that you don't have to worry about weather concerns in, okay? Because I don't want to make a high five with multiple guys from that game and then that game not play and then the whole high five video was pointless. So like I said, major weather issues. For that reason, I'm going to avoid it in the high five. But obviously, if depending on how you're feeling, like I said, I'm going to be prepared for either way it goes, and I'll have to make that final decision before I post the optimals before the slate starts. But you guys know me; I like to play it safer in that instance sometimes. I don't like to run the risk of weather killing us. If weather is a legitimate concern, I'm going to avoid that game and just hope it doesn't go for 20 runs if they play. All right. Anyway, coming down to pitchers, Charlie Morton and Nick Pivetta are the two guys I have the most interest in. When you look at Vegas, just to start the whole research process off, if you just look at the basic information of like Vegas and what they open the lines at, Charlie Morton opened at a 7.5. Nick Pivetta opened at a 6.5. Nick Pivetta is at an elite range strikeout projection, according to Vegas, and he's only 6'6". Not only that, but you look at the matchup in Seattle, which is a pitcher-friendly ballpark facing a Seattle squad that's had its struggles. You know what I mean? Obviously, it's got guys like Julio Rodriguez that's solid. You've got Suarez that could always double dong at any moment. You never know. But there's some high strikeout guys in that lineup, and Nick Pavetta's looking good at 6'6" to be, a good option with his strikeout potential in this matchup for sure, and a pitcher friendly park. Charlie Morton against the Angels. As long as Mike Trout is out of that lineup, it's always good to target against the Angels. Always. I love Atlanta. I love the run support Morton's going to have in this one. I like his strikeout potential against the Angels today, and he's 9-3. In my opinion, he's probably the best bet when it comes to pitchers on this slate. As you can see, I haven't projected, 3 points higher than the next highest, and that's George Kirby at 8-6, who's also a good value today. So for me, I'm not paying up in the 10Ks. I probably won't get a ton of glass now in New York, even though he could do well. I'm not going to have a ton of glass now. I'm not going to have a ton of burns against Washington probably. I'm going to probably go that mid-range upper 9-3, 8-6, 6-6, 8K even, like that range. I'm not going to go much higher. I'm not going to go in that 10K range. All right? But yeah, Morton and Pavetta are the two pitchers I'm loving the most. Now, when it comes to hitters, I'm going to start off with a value at first base that really sticks out to me today, and that's Brandon Belt. Brandon Belt's got amazing numbers over the last 2 years. You look at his numbers versus righties while at home, and he's just fantastic. He's at home here facing a righty. Brandon Belt's only 3-2. He's a guy who's got legitimate power, who could hit double 2 home runs in any given game. You never know. He's got that potential. Does he do it often? No, nobody does. But he does have that upside potential, and I feel good about Belt. I wouldn't be surprised to see him hit a home run today. And only 3-2, that could really set you apart from a large group of people on this slate today. All right? Next up, I'm going to go another value-ish option because the last play won't be much of a value, and that's Seiya Suzuki. Seiya Suzuki is always a stolen base threat, and when he's facing a lefty at home, it's always a good bet as well for him to do well. He's going to bat high in this order, probably second to fourth range. Suzuki at 3-1 is too cheap in a righty-lefty matchup at home in Chicago with his stolen base potential. So I love Suzuki at this spot at 3-1. Great value. He's also a guy that hits the barrel of the bat a good bit. Like he hits the ball flush. Sorry if you hear my son in the background. He's frustrated out there. I don't know what's going on with him, but he's frustrated. So if you hear crying, he's just not getting his way right now. Seiya Suzuki, though, like I was just saying, hits the barrel of the bat a good bit. Like he really hits that flush part of the bat often, and he just makes really solid contact. So he's a guy that makes solid contact. He's got the righty-lefty split matchup. He steals bases very well, even though his stolen base potential lowers slightly facing a lefty. But he does have the stolen base potential. He hits the ball well. He's just an overall solid option today at home in Chicago for me as a value. Last but not least, not much of a value, but my favorite bat on this slate, Ronald Acuna Jr. Now, if Coors doesn't happen, he's my favorite bat on this slate. If Coors happens, it's Tatis. But if Coors doesn't happen, Ronald Acuna Jr. is my favorite bet. Obviously, Acuna steals bases like it's nothing. All right, he's facing a righty. Great spot for him to steal bases here. We know how good Atlanta is at home. At home versus righties, Acuna is clutch. Over a 400 WOBA. Dude's just absolutely amazing. Atlanta in general as a whole team hits the ball ridiculously while at home in Atlanta. Acuna is a fantastic option at 6'6", multiple stolen base potential, as well as the power to hit 2 home runs as well. So he's just a fantastic option. He's overall my favorite bat, and if Coors isn't happening, he's going to be a guy I rely on heavily most likely. All right, so that's the core on DraftKings. We got Charlie Morton, Nick Pavetta, Brandon Belt as a value, Suzuki as a value, and then the spend up of Ronald Acuna Jr. All right? All right, let's switch over to FanDuel and see what we're looking like over here real quick. All right, so when it comes to pitching over on FanDuel, Morton's 9.4, Pavetta's 8K. So Pavetta's a much better value on DK than he is over here. So and Morton is a better value over here than he is on DK. So I'm gonna go Charlie Morton at pitcher. All right, and when we look at hitters, like I said, I'm avoiding cores in the core today. All right. So when just looking at hitters, looking at value, Suzuki's only 2.8. Great option. We have who else? I like to look in that 2K range when I do these videos, just to make sure y'all are on the best, like most. What am I doing? I have the ability to sort point per salary. Why not? All right. When looking at the value on this slate, obviously you've got a lot of cores. Jimenez is a great option today. Love him. As always, stolen base potential for him as well. Facing a righty in this one. Love the spot for him as well. Terang's only 2-3. Interesting. Josh Bell. Interesting. Let's see. I want to get a third play in here. How much is Belt over here? 2.8. There we go. Brandon Belt, 2.8. You know, on FanDuel, I like to give y'all some value options because you know the spend ups like Acuna's, if Course plays, the Tatis spend up, and all those other guys. Obviously, those are great plays, but you want to get those value bets right. And as always, on any site, you get the value bets right. I mean, damn, you're in for a treat if your value can go in. So on FanDuel, the core is going to be Charlie Morton, pitcher. I love him even more on FanDuel than I do on DK because he's just a better price over here. Andres Gimenez, stolen base potential, lefty-righty matchup at only 3K. Seiya Suzuki, stolen base potential, righty-lefty matchup at home in Chicago, 2.8. And Brandon Belt at home in Toronto. Major power upside. He's not going to steal a base, but he's got major power upside at only 2.8. Great spot for him as well. All right? And I feel like we're in a good track to dominate this slate once again, man. Let's have another amazing week, man. GreenlightDFS.com, y'all know me. I like to really lock things in before NFL starts. Really get our bankrolls looking nice and juicy heading into NFL. NFL Early Bird Season Long Special will be dropping not too long from now. I had the best NFL season of my career last year. It was amazing. Lost like 3 main slates out of the entire year. Went about 14-3 on main slates last season. So it was an amazing season, and looking to do that once again. All right. Thank you guys for joining me as always. GreenlightDFS.com. Join the squad. Let's get it. I'm out.